Good evening, everybody. This is Tolki for the second match of the eOSL Grand Finals. I'm sorry, I'm very slow doing this because I'm too scared of my terrible English level, and I'm not always ready to cast English. I also had a lot of connection problems. My internet started lagging like hell, so I had to stop for a little bit, but I'm back to cast the grand finals of the eOSL. I will have it done by next week, I'm sure of it. So this is game 2. Sarens won game 1 against Aures. Aures was going nearly pure Marines against Sarens more standard Marine tanks, and Sarens completely wrecked. He wrecked Aures' face. It was a complete disaster for him. So let's jump into game 2, which is on GSL Crevasse. GSL Crevasse, so a map done by the GSL map makers. I don't exactly remember who did it, but it's a map that has been used in a lot of tournaments since, because it's a very good map. It's a map where you have a little bit of decision making involved in taking your second base. You have a very safe second base with 6 mineral patches and 1 rich Vespin geyser in the back of your at the back of your base, and you have 1 front expansion, which is a full expansion. There has been a new version of Crevasse without this rich Vespin geyser, and players tend to prefer it because a rich Vespin geyser allows for quite powerful, I find personally, Zerg strategies. Zerg going hatch first can take directly their first gas here and have a very high gas count in the very beginning of the game, and I think it quite favors Zerg to have this rich Vespin geyser, so they removed it. Maybe it's not exactly for Zerg, maybe it's just that it sucked to have a rich Vespin geyser, which is completely true as gold expansions. And Aures is going for a Rax at 12, whereas Sarens will probably do it at 13, or will go for command center first. What the? Sarens is not giving up at all to make a barracks, and he's not taking any gas, so it won't be a gas first build, and he really is gearing up for command center first. This is a very, very big map. The rush distances are about, how to say, 50 kilometers long. It's just terrible if you want to put pressure at the beginning of the game. And those rocks cannot be easily destroyed by Hellions or other fast units. Fast units tend to have a hard time dealing with rocks, and it's the case. So Aures will have a way more tech-oriented build compared as Sarens. Sarens going for a Rax hidden in the left corner of his base, so Aures will stay in the dark when he will scout Sarens. He will maybe think that it's a 2 Rax all-in, a proxy 2 Rax, and that he's gonna be all-in. So Sarens just doing cutesy things, because it's always better to be able that it's always better when your build is able to make your opponent do mistakes. And Sarens is going to take the rich Vespin geyser first. So Sarens will do a marine from this Rax, and Aures hasn't scouted Sarens command center first. This is going to be quite hard for him, and he is opening with a factory and a reactor Rax. The 1 gas reactor Rax into a factory after 2 runs is quite the TVT standards nowadays. It's quite the standard opening, but when your opponent has gained command center first, you are behind when you do this, and this is the case here. Aures is already in a bad spot. Sarens is running off only 1 gas, but has a very good gas income compared to Aures, who is on 2 gases. So this is not a build order loss from Aures, but he certainly is behind. Sarens still hasn't catch up in SCVs because he had to cut quite a lot of them by doing the command center first and 2 orbitals, but Sarens will skyrocket forward. He will skyrocket ahead of Aures in a few minutes, but Aures is gearing up for drops or bunches. So yeah, most likely bunches from Aures. When I saw reactor Hellions and a starport, I thought it would be drops, because I personally find drops more effective on this map because of the geometry. Your Marines take a very long time to come back to the second base, and Aures is asserting map control with his Hellions, with his Marines. Sarens has only a bunker. He is just now taking directly to starport, so it's a 1-1-1 with an engineering bay just after a command center first. Sarens really going balls to the wall with that kind of build. Aures is pushing forward. His Marines have tanked the damage, and the Hellions here will be able to do tremendous amount of damage to Sarens' mineral line. This is why I said Sarens' opening was quite dangerous, because he had absolutely no units. He was taking hardcore. He has an engineering bay. He has a 1-1-1. He has a tech lab. He has a reactor barracks, and but he has at the same time a wonderful macro and a lot of tech. So this really boils down to what will happen in the future. What will his opponent do with his cloak banshees? Sarens isn't aware that Aures is just now beginning his second command center, but Sarens has 2 missile turrets. So those 2 missile turrets will help greatly defend against these banshees, because Sarens has quite a low marine count. He has only 6 minutes right now, and the banshees could do a lot of damage. But Aures is very late with his banshee. I don't think this missile turret has any kills. Let me see the unit loss tab. So Aures has lost 4 Hellions and a Marine, so it's normal. He has 450 resources lost. He hasn't lost his Banshee, and he is really late with this. Aures maybe is choking a little bit. It's the finals of a very big French tournament. There is a lot at stake. Sarens is playing perfectly though, because he was an ex-brutal player. His experience against that type of thing. He plays very well under pressure, and he really has been on lots of big stages before, so it really feels like Sarens has a very dominating mindset in this game. He's running off 2 gases, one of which is rich. He could take a 3rd gas whenever he wants, and he is adding on barracks while doing pure tanks, and only beginning his siege tank research. So Sarens is quite ahead. I think is ahead in the workers count. He is ahead in the tech, not that much in fact. I don't know why, because his macro is quite good, and he lost a lot of SCVs here. So this move by Aures really equalized what happened. Aures still isn't ahead compared to Sarens, especially because Sarens built so much turrets. He has turrets everywhere, and afterwards Sarens was in a good spot, but not that of a good spot, because he lost really way too much SCVs here. This supply depot really saved him. Without this, it was nearly lights out for Sarens. But everything went fine, and now we are finally in yes. It's really weird, because Aures did such a weird opening. He did cloak banshees into marine tanks with siege mode, but he didn't achieve anything with his banshee, and it was absolutely terrible as an opening. It was like he didn't even open cloak banshees, but he did enough damage with his Hellions, and Aures quite over-invested in his defense tech against banshees, which allowed Aures to come back into this game. A huge fight here, and Sarens not sieging up his tanks. It's the best decision he could make, because he is completely destroying his opponent's army. His opponent had siege mode. He sieged way too late. He had steam, so Aures is ahead in the crucial upgrades department, but Sarens took this fight wonderfully. He already has his 3rd command center, as Aures is only building his. Sarens took a very dominating position here, but Sarens is a very cautious player. As I said it in the previous match, Sarens really will go in methodically. This maybe he's never greedy. He really is a slow player. He's not to the extent of Goody, but he really don't take any unnecessary risks and play to win. Is prepared to stall. He is prepared to do what is needed to make his opponent lose time. So he has 2 sensor towers. He has a 3rd base. And this cloak banshee from Aures will find some use by hitting Sarens tanks, and this banshee goes away, save Sarens. Maybe scanned a little bit too early. He should have waited for Steam Pack to finish, but you aren't really aware of the Steam timing when you're in the middle of the map looking at your army. This is still winnable by Aures, but Sarens has now a big lead. His SCV's loss from the beginning have equalized by now, and his fight taking here was really wonderful. Aures should have been sieged, and he sieged way too late. He had to take this fight unsieged if he wanted to take the fight, or he had to be sieged way before. He had steam. He could have run away. He could have only sieged one tank as an example, and attack move the other tanks with his tanks, because tanks have very good DPS against armored units. I don't know. He should have done something else on the first engagement, and what Aures did was definitely not the best solution. Sarens is already one attack on his marines. He's gearing up for +1/+1 upgrade. He hasn't taken any gas on his third base. He's putting missile turrets everywhere, and when I say everywhere, it's freaking everywhere. He is really stalling. He will try to deny his opponent any chance of coming back into this game, because he will defend very well, but at the same time it offers his opponent the possibility to be greedy and to play without nearly. Well, so okay, he put a little bit of base defense, but only two missile turrets, and still no sensor tower. He will begin one right now, so Aures has begun his static defense much later than Sarens. So he won a little bit macro-wise, and he is catching up right now. Yeah, he's still 15 SCVs behind. This is not a good position to be in, but he's only 2 tanks behind and is 15 marines ahead. Whoa, big drop by Sarens as I was watching in the middle of the map. I'm really sorry. I just played for 2 hours. I'm a bit tired. So let us see. With his 2 missile turrets, I really thought Sarens wouldn't be able to drop here, but Sarens did, and it was efficient. Sarens went for a drop, really circumventing those missile turrets wonderfully. He destroyed the command center, so Sarens has improved his lead against Aures. Even one of his medivacs will fly away, so let's come back to the game. Sarens sniped this command center really well. The fact that there was a hole here for his medivacs to go really helped him a lot, and Sarens is gearing up for +1 for his mech army, and I'm pretty sure he will soon begin a +2 for his infantry, a +2 attack for his infantry. Aures is already searching it, and Sarens goes for the 4th base. Sarens really going methodically against his opponent, and Aures goes for punishment against Sarens. Sarens has a lot of tanks which aren't here. This is a very bad engagement for Sarens, but 5 tanks are sieging, and Aures loses a lot of marines right here. He is now at only 11 marines against 5 tanks. So those 4 tanks of Sarens will be able to stall quite long against Aures forces. Aures can't have vision easily. He has absolutely no Viking. He's a pure marine tanks user. Marines allow you to punish, yes, this kind of bad position from your opponent, but you cannot push too much and lose all the marines like that. It's really way too important to keep your marines alive when you're playing that, when you're relying that heavily on marines. Yeah, Aures. The punition of Sarens' back position here was good, but he sacrificed way too many marines. He should have backed one. Those siege tanks were in siege mode, and Sarens is going for a right flank, but it won't work. Marines from Aures here are ready to intercept this. Sarens backs off and is taking a good position with a lot of mules here. Sarens has a wonderful income. He has nearly twice the income from his opponent. He will have a way stronger army in a few minutes, and Aures is going forward with tanks, but there were damaged tanks and he lost a lot of them. He should bring a few SCVs to repair his mech force. Sarens on his side is going for a +1 armor for his marines and is already maxed out. So Aures is in a really tough spot. Sarens has a better economy, he has a better army, he has nearly everything better than his opponent. He is max. He will be able maybe to throw down a second armory and to begin double upgrades on his engineering bay while taking to battle to cattle bruisers. He will be soon on 6 gases, on six gases, one of which will be rich, and he will take his 5th and maybe 6th base. So Sarens is really skyrocketing forward. He has been ahead for a large portion of the game. At the beginning he was ahead, the Helms did a little bit of damage and equalized this, and then the engagement here nearly lost the game for Aures. Aures is a very consistent player usually, but he may not be showing his best today. In those eOSL Grand Finals, Sarens is flanking with tanks and marines. This is beginning to be dynamic. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit sleepy when commenting Terran versus Terran. It's not very easy to commentate as a matchup because of this. This tank is doing tremendous amount of damage. Already 8 kills, 13 kills from this tank. Sarens really macroing way better than Aures. Those marines are going to wreak havoc on Aures base, and Aures will likely have to back. One of those tanks should move forward and siege here. Sarens not microing the best he can here, and he is going to move forward with his army while banking a lot of cash. He maybe should throw down a lot of orbital commands, maybe 4 or 5 orbital commands, and sacrifice his SCV. He is going to lose all his marines here. The tanks have been taken care of, and that is not even going to lose those marines. Those marines weren't better upgraded, but they had more armor. Yeah, so it's +2 +0 marines against +0 +2 marines. So it's it just both upgrades are just cancelling each other, and this isn't important in that case. So Aures did put up a good fight here, but Sarens will be able to insta-remax. He is lacking gas, he should take gases here, and he's not adding any production buildings, even though he has 3k minerals, so his late game is not exactly perfect, but he is sniping things here, and this two-prong attack on Aures base is really very powerful. Those marines will likely take care of this orbital command center. Remember, Aures lost this base once. Even though he rebuilt it, he lost a lot during this engagement, and Sarens is going for the main with his marines while flanking with his siege tanks. Sarens is in a wonderful position, and it's a GG from Aures. Aures not trying to base trade or anything like this. Aures was in a very tough spot. He was at 67 supply. He was way behind it. Anyway, after he lost this command center, the game was lost. Even though it was already quite bad here when he lost his army. This was completely terrible when he lost his command center. Sarens played really well all this game. He was really patient, he was really slow killing his opponent, but I can promise you the next game will be way more intense. Aures is not the kind of player to let Sarens macro up quietly. Normally, this map was a bit hard to play, maybe he wasn't really used to it. So Aures is a really good player, and I can assure you the whole eOSL Grand Finals are gonna be breathtaking. That's all for today. See you, Tolki. Signing out. I'm not gonna do the HD sign. Yeah, she sucks.